What's up, board game people? Let's kick off a very busy month of projects in style. Today we're going to take a look at the ultra deluxeified Forsaken from Game Trayz Lab. This is a campaign I've been excited to cover since I first heard about it, and they haven't disappointed. The campaign is already funded and blasting through stretch goals faster than they can add new ones. There are 23 days remaining in the campaign and lots of new content to come, so scratch together some rations because we're in this one for the long haul. I don't get any money from game companies for making my videos. I make them to help us all discover new and exciting games and experiences in our hobby. If I get something wrong or you disagree with something, let's chat in the comments. Far from the galactic core, Thyrea and its moons have been strip-mined and left for dead. Abandoned workers huddle together in makeshift settlements, struggling to survive in a world of scarcity and lawlessness. Native nomads and bizarre creatures resurface to take back the wastelands. Factions and heroes rise and fall, but only the greatest will be remembered as legend. Forsaken is an immersive narrative adventure game for 1 to 4 players. You take on the role of a survivor looking to make your mark on the lore of Thyrea. Each character has their own story to be told through a branching path uniquely tailored to the choices you make. How will you change the face of Thyrea? And how will Thyrea change you? Each turn you'll take 3 actions, allowing you to explore the world around you and pursue your personal objectives. Each character will be working towards their own ends, but when their paths and stories cross, the emergent story becomes truly unique. After actions are resolved, if you end your turn adjacent to an encounter node, you will resolve an encounter from the deck and partake of the over 130,000 words of story that accompanies the encounters. The choices made and the challenges overcome will often have a ripple effect on the world around you. Each character has their own story and can be played again with a class module to experience an entirely different tale. The combinations are almost limitless, and with expansions as a possibility, they truly are. Gameplay isn't restricted to Thyrea alone. The moons are also fully explorable locations, offering a change of pace and new and deadly challenges of their own. Let's take a quick look at the pledge levels and all that's on offer. For $1, you can get access to the Pledge Manager. Simple enough. For $129, you get the Forsaken Core Box and all unlocked bonus content for it. Then for $179, you get the Forsaken All-In Pledge, including the Core Box, all unlocked bonus contents, the Shaman and the Stray expansion, and the Prisoner and the Peon expansion. Finally, at $194, you get the All-In plus Foreteller Pledge. This gets you the Core Box, all unlocked bonus content, both expansions, and the Foreteller narration for the Core Box and both expansions. There aren't too many add-ons to talk about. Available are the Foreteller narration packs individually. You can get the narration for the Core Box for $11, and you can get the narration for each of the expansions for $4. This can be added as you're filling out your pledge on Kickstarter. The project has a nice mix of stretch goals and reveals. For monetary stretch goals, we've already unlocked the single goal presented, adding 1 new character, Niney, to the game, along with their character board, mini, and everything needed to play them. They're also offering social stretch goals. Right now, for 3,200 Facebook followers, they'll add 3 new encounters to the game with supporting components and cards. And on top of all of that, they're offering daily unlocks, the first of which will be a new class module, the Cartel Muscle, with all the cards needed to play the module. Let's take a look at shipping because there's some interesting things here. They plan on shipping the game to you by December of 2023, which gives them just over a year. Shipping estimates are being shown on the table at the bottom of the project page. These estimates are being collected when you place your pledge. That would be weird and a little uncomfortable, but they're trying to be responsible and have posted a guarantee that they will not be asking for extra money after you've completed the Pledge Manager. They're also guaranteeing that their final shipping rate will not be more than 25% over the estimate, or they will cover the excess. Taxes, local fees, and VAT will be charged in the Pledge Manager. So what are my thoughts on Forsaken? Let's get the elephant in the room out in the open. This game isn't cheap. The Core Box being set at $129 is going to be a huge hang-up for many, many backers. Pricing the core so high leaves it squarely on the shoulders of your project page to sell the game and sell it hard for that price. Do I think it's worth it? Yes. The core may be priced high, but seeing the cost and the contents of the expansion really should bring everything into light. The expansions are going for around $25 each. They add 2 characters with boards and miniatures, and a bunch of supporting cards. The real meat of the game is contained in the core box. They're able to cheaply expand the game because the expensive stuff here isn't the 2 miniatures and the cards, it's actually the Game Trayz components that make up the Forsaken core box. The core is packed full of character trays, card trays, component organizers, trays for the planet and moon maps, a faction tray, an asset tray, even a dice tower and tray. This is Game Trayz showing off what they do best, making stylish and functional high-quality trays and components for games. In this game, if it's hitting the table, it belongs in a slot, spot, or stack in a tray. The trays they've designed are quite nice. The character boards are well engineered and themed excellently. For someone with OCD, this is a bit of a dream. Everything has its spot. Now, on the flip side of that coin, this game is a table hog. All of these wonderful trays need to be laid out, and all of them take up some room. The renders of the Forsaken box tend to hide the actual size of the game box a little. This is a monster-sized box hiding a ton of cards and components. Thankfully, they engineered the heck out of that box as well. There's an easily stackable system for getting everything back into the box exactly how it should be. You stack the layers of components into the box one at a time, and everything from the Kickstarter, including the expansions, will fit snugly inside. The box is sized around 13 inches by 15 inches by 8 inches, making it big enough to hold everything, but small enough to fit in the almighty calyx. Oh, and the box will hold sleeved cards. Mic drop. So, let's circle back to the value of the core box. Would you go to the game store and purchase a box full of plastic inserts? No, likely you wouldn't. It's hard to put a value on the game trays as you don't really have a choice but to get them in this case. So I feel I have to give them something, but maybe not what they really cost to produce. Personally, I chose just to pick a number out of my head. Let's say $30. That's far less than I would normally pay for deluxified inserts and trays for my games, but for the fun, let's stick with the $30. That leaves the game costing around $100. So, is there $100 worth of components here? Again, no. There are around 400 to 500 cards, different components that make up the player boards, some standees, some tracker cubes, a few faction standees, miniatures, and some tokens. So I'll be generous here and give them $50 for all that. Well, that leaves $50 left over floating in space. This is where you need to personally look at the game and determine the value for yourself. For me, that extra $50 is easily covered by the encounter book, the story being told in the game, and the chance for emergent storytelling to happen. Oh, and the replayability. If you know me, you know I don't replay narrative games unless they have something truly special. I need a real reason to go back and play again. Here you have at least 11 reasons, but more likely hundreds. Each character story here is unique. There are 11 characters across the core and expansion, so that's at least 5 2-player playthroughs to hear all the base game stories. Add in some random events and player choices, and those stories have a ton of branching variety to them. Then you can replay each character with a class module to experience a totally different story. In fact, each character can be played with each class module, mixing things totally up. Unlike many narrative games, this isn't the same tale being told over and over again. This is the unique tale of how your character became legend this playthrough. Next time will be a totally new adventure. If you haven't guessed, I'm already sold on the theme. The game is dripping with thematic details, and one of the first things that hit me is that all the characters look completely different, but they all look like they should be found on the same barren, lawless wasteland planet. There's a bit of tongue-in-cheek humor to some of the characters that really resonates with me as well. I'm fairly certain anyone can find at least 2 characters here that they'd like to play in this motley crew. Game time is on the longer side, especially if you have 4 players, but it isn't so long that you're going to completely check out by the end. I like longer games anyhow, so for me that's a plus. I can imagine this easily being the centerpiece of a game night, and then my wife and I play in 2-player games just to explore every nook and cranny of Thyria and every survivor we have an interest in. So for me, it's totally worth the cost. This is the type of game I would love to see new players added to over the years, and even possibly more planets, stories, events, and encounters along the way. I don't know their future plans, but I believe they have a solid framework for storytelling here, and mixing that with the rife thematics makes for a universe begging to be explored and experienced. So, if you're looking for a unique narrative experience that you can play with your friends or family for years to come, I think you found it. I think there will always be something new to find in Thyria. For a first game project from a company, Game Trayz Lab has come out swinging. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this project evolves over the next few weeks. And even more, I'm looking forward to diving into this new world. That's it for this one. Forsaken is going to be an amazing addition to any collection if you can get past the cost barrier of entry. We will be back in just a bit with another campaign guide, our month in review, and early next week with more news. If you missed our latest news video, go check it out. We covered a ton of games, including some new ones. Make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Thanks to everyone watching and commenting. Have a great night and play something different tonight.